Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Alien Protocols. Uh, Guys, thank you so much for your patience. I haven't done a video in a few weeks. As you know, I've been working on multiple different projects and research in different countries and doing some really just amazing stuff. And it's just been such a privilege to be working with different groups of really talented people and working on a lot of the nuts and bolts of this stuff. As you guys know, our channel has been around for just, a year. And we started this project with so many of the people that are still here that, this is a group project. This is a family project. And we've just gotten to a place now where it's so fascinating and so cool. And science is really validating so much of this. And we're at a really neat point. We've always believed in this channel that the mind affects reality. We know that. We've been CE5 practitioners. We teach other people CE5. And we know that remote viewing works, ESP works. We don't know all the mechanics. We call whatever that substructure is that connects everything, we call it the limen. But, Dr. Vernon Neppy has done the volumetrics for it, and he calls it the gimmel. And someone else will call it a morphogenic field, and someone else will call it this. There's a lot of different names for it, but humans almost intrinsically know that there's something underneath the surface of our reality or interwoven through our reality that connects everything, a great oneness. We all feel that, We've spoken about before how, if Ingo Swann had an ability to measurably affect different types of machines, if he's literally able to affect another physical space and time, when his body leaves, where is he? And it made us kind of have that discussion. Well, you have a little bit of a lump here and you actually connect to everything everywhere also. And so when you disappear from this lump here, you're just a little bit more everywhere else. And there's all these wonderful thoughts like that, and that a lot of people say, no, consciousness is formative. Consciousness is first. And other people say, oh, you can't have consciousness without matter. So matter's first. And that there's these two separate blocks. And we've been saying from the beginning that it's a tapestry. And if you touch over here, you feel it over here. Consciousness and space-time, matter, energy is all a tapestry. And I think more and more science and time will prove it. And we've talked about how a lot of these different phenomena look different. Kind of like a tree from above. In 2 dimensions, a tree looks so strange. Everything looks separate. You've got a separate looking fruit over here and a separate monkey over here, maybe, and a branch over here, and a weird bird that disappears out of nowhere and comes up, and they all look separate. But if you could look at the tree sideways, like here in this image, you could follow the branches down to different hubs where they connect, and further down where everything becomes one at the trunk. And probably as you go into the substructure, there's more order, so there's less entropy as you go down as well too. And we're finding out a lot of interesting things about entropy. And lately we've really kind of explored the VALLE-Davis model. We've talked about this before, the mind effects. And we kind of come up with this model, the interactive universe model, which states that psychokinesis in the mind affects more of the universe than we ever would have thought. And that, in fact, so many of these different events might actually be psychokinesis type effects, and that everyone has access to these abilities, from informational abilities from the connection, just to get information, to actual energy exchanges with that connection. And it's a startling notion, but it's a logical extension of the 2-slit experiment. We know it's an interactive universe. On some level, it's an interactive universe that responds to consciousness. There's so many different experiments that have, indicated this. And there's no doubt that the mind has an ability to affect matter. Over 100 years of DICE studies and it's overwhelmingly obvious. So we come to this kind of strange point where we say to ourselves, where does the line end in terms of the ability to affect space-time and matter with consciousness? And that is a very powerful question. if you really, really think about it, it has startling implications. And basically what a logical progression of the two-slit experiment means that we all play a part in shaping the future realities. And we've looked at some of the PK experiments that have been done in the past, like at the Pear Institute, and they were trying to see if it was one of two different models, the teleological model versus the, quote, quantum wave function collapse model. And they were able to prove that the quantum wave function collapse model was more indicative of what they were seeing, dramatically more indicative. So something is real and measurable here. And it makes you wonder, where do you draw the line? And the implications mean we shape the future. We literally shape the future. In the random spaces where the universe has not yet made a decision, your mind can influence that. Your thoughts can influence that. Your consciousness can influence that. And we already kind of know that space-time and matter, it's kind of like a fabric. So when you do something, and you're probably in one way always doing that forever, written on the fabric of space-time. But this takes the meaning and the responsibility of your thoughts to a whole new level. Because if your thoughts affect the physical world, do you want to be thinking negative thoughts? Do you want to be responsible for putting jealousy out there, or envy, or hatred? Literally embedding that into the universe somewhere? I think that we really need to teach our kids. We teach them physical education, but we do not teach them mental education about consciousness. And I think that's so crucial. They should be taught that throughout their entire lives, especially if we as parents want our children to shape a better future. If we taught kids what has been known for 2,000 years in the Yoga Sutras, that if you are virtuous and empathetic, you get something called siddhis, which were these ESP type gifts. And they're real, and we can demonstrate them. We've demonstrated on this channel, and we've got so many testimonials, and so many other people have done this for so long in machines and studies. It's definitive. So if you excite kids and let them know that they would get real superpowers, essentially, by being empathetic and caring, and they had mental education, you would never see another school shooting. I am convinced. And if you tell kids that they can't fail, that they're not magicians, they're scientists. So if you're learning, you never fail. It's just an experiment. You're a scientist. It's an experiment. You got good data, no matter what. And so if kids feel confident enough to fail really big in front of everybody, they can achieve even bigger. And this is really about human potential, because I think we can do so much more than we've ever suspected. And I think if you really look at this, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And the implications are staggering. I may spell it out in a future video, but you affect reality. And we need to teach our kids to dream big. No small dreaming allowed. You know what I mean? Because this is about human potential. And in the future, as technology gets more and more dangerous, I believe humanity is going to need every bit of potential. But not only about potential, about these gifts of the siddhis and the Yoga Sutras and stuff, but in everything they do. If they can fail big in music, if they can fail big in science, if they can fail big in all these things, imagine how much better human potential would be. I mean, it just seems so obvious to me. But I think legislators don't really truly realize how much the mind affects reality. I'm just going to say it, guys. I believe that if you look at the evidence, the VALLE model says that a lot of this stuff appears to be mind effects, whether maybe someone's affecting consciousness, so these people believe these things are happening, but there's measurables, there's energy levels that are measurables and data from radars and things like that. I believe that bottled up tension produces uncontrolled demonstrations of psychokinesis. So bottled up tension and lack of knowledge about the fact that we affect reality, creates these uncontrolled, powerful, dangerous psychokinesis moments. Okay? And so think about it, bottled up tension. You are in the ball turret of a B-52 bomber on your second to last mission. There's probably no more tension than being in that damn small little ball turret. And you wonder where Foo Fighters came from? The first large displays of PK are oftentimes energy balls. So keep that in mind. Now imagine you're underground in a tiny little bunker with your hand for hours on a nuclear launch key with the fate of civilization a turn away in your key. And then think of all the incidents where light balls have shut off nuclear weapon systems. Maybe that's how they affect the systems. Think of Fatima. All those people praying deeply and passionately and believing, knowing that it's going to arrive at a certain time, and these light phenomena happen. I think there are people who are under a lot of pressure and they show this uncontrolled. The Hutchinson effect is a very potent and powerful example. They wonder why the phenomena follows people home. Maybe it's them. Maybe just belief that a location is haunted makes it more haunted because another person who can display PK arrives and believes. It's a very slippery slope. Where do you draw the line? Is this why UFOs always represent near future technology? I do not want to believe that ET is the physical craft. I could understand maybe the energy balls, but the physical craft, are they constructed by the mind? They're being seen coming in and out of the atmosphere. But who are they being seen by? Radar operators who are under tension for hours looking for possible death from above, from a meteorite or a nuclear weapon. They're filled with tension probably. How about the USOs? You're in a submarine. Guys, maybe TTSA shouldn't be briefing Congress about these dangerous psychokinetic effects that seem to mimic the human mind. Maybe TTSA could close tomorrow and instead take all that money and teach us that we need to teach our kids empathy and compassion. Because maybe if you're willing to fail big, you can create miracles. Maybe we all are miracle makers and we don't have to do it because of bottled up tension. Maybe we can all do it if we make each other feel comfortable enough to fail big. To make the impossible live only in our fears. Does this sound too absolutely reality bending? Is it too altruistic? Is it too full of love? Because the reality is these things, these abilities, yes, they will be produced uncontrolled at high power levels because they're uncontrolled, but that's dangerous. The only controlled higher power levels that can ever be attained on a regular basis when you want to is by people who are virtuous and in control of their bodies and mind. And the 2,000-year-old Yoga Sutras knew that. And we need to teach our kids. I don't know how we're going to let everyone know how powerful their minds are, but this is imperative. This is about human potential. This is about our race surviving. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Do you think this premise, this model, which is an extension of the Valley-Davis model, and it's kind of in combination with the model I've been working on with Dr. Hine about the fractal theory, I think that the substructure is fractal and our universe is obviously fractal, because if you're a fractal, you would think if you looked at the largest scale and the smallest scale, if you were a fractal, you would appear to be right in the middle. And we sure appear to be. And fractals have subfractals and bubble fractals and all those things. They're identical. Maybe we have a bubble fractal that's identical and we resonate with that and can touch everything. That's possible too. Who knows? There's Dr. Hine talks a lot about fractal flattening and, you know, energy dispersions. I don't understand because he's smarter than me. But guys, I think this is a really mind-bending and incredibly, it works. I don't want to believe that ETs could be us. But I think it is. I think it is, guys. I really do. If you do the research, I think you'll come to the same conclusion. We need to teach the kids empathy. So on this channel, we're going to start doing consciousness classes. We're going to be teaching kids that they can learn ESP. They can do these guessing games like from Russell Targ and all these really cool stuff, and remote view different places and use their imagination and fail big. Because, you know, we can't change the whole world, or we can try with 1 or 2 people at a time. And we may be wrong with this whole theory and philosophy, but I don't think we are for some wacky reason. I think this just fits everything. As uncomfortable as I feel with it in many ways, I think it's the reality. And if you agree and understand how important this is, because it's actually a wonderful message too, when you really think about it, every person gets a vote. We all collectively shape the future. And not only that, if you're broke somewhere and you don't have money and you don't have this and you don't have that, it doesn't matter. We feel like that dog with the bone in their mouth, and we always think, oh, it's the other bone in the water that I want. But you've had the bone the whole time. The ability to shape and change reality, make the world a better place. And do almost anything if you are virtuous and control your consciousness. Please share this video if you think it's as important as we do. I love you guys. Thank you for being with us through this whole process and everything. Much love.